We on? All right, we're live. Okay, so today I'm going to be continuing on the path of trying to figure out this RigBuilder UI, just uh, evaluating how to connect the logic with the the, the Qt3 widget on the UI. And yeah, I have to keep focused on this thing. It's just I guess at some point it's just like it's about the amount of hours that you spend on it, and that's what I'm gonna be doing. So yeah, here we go. So it's late night here at home, so people are already sleeping. So I have to speak a little lower. Hello, Sana. Thanks for stopping by. Hope you're doing great today. So, today, what's going on is basically I have this RigBuilder UI going on here, which I am trying to connect to sort of a logic, to a proper logic, which would, but inside of the of our rig class here, it has the ability to register methods, right? So this is it's quite deep, at least if you're catching up right now. But yeah, I'm trying to be able to register methods that are inside of this method list here. So in this case here, I have create new scene, for example. So eventually, we would be able to, when the UI is initialized, it should be able to pick up this methods, and that's what's going to be available for building the rig later on. So that's the plan now. Just working on that, and I gotta be thinking because I'm catching up with the. So last time I did a live, I was talking to Misha. Guys, we had an amazing talk. This guy's a great person. Highly recommend watching the live if you have the time and interest in coding. There's a lot of just chit chatting, but even the chit chatting is just about the life and work that we live here in Vancouver. How's he going in his career? It's pretty interesting as well. Depending on if you're in Vancouver, you kind of know what's going on, but it's interesting to know more about the industry. I learned a lot from just knowing how people are going and the moves that they're making on the industry. He was getting out of his current company at DNAG and going into Ziva Dynamics. Look at that. The guy's a machine. So he's going to deal with pretty deep uh, coding and development stuff. As I said, he hopes to be the smallest brain in the room, and I can totally believe that that's going to be the case. So, anyways, then now I'm just checking out what's going on here. If I'm going to be able to do that, so I'm going to run it now. It's probably going to crash. Hmm. Didn't crash, but nothing new happened. So, are we reloading though? We're not reloading. So, yeah. And just let me see. Yeah, so I'm just checking out here what's going on. It's going to be error by error, just standard things on development. This is not the most exciting part of the project right now, but it's just like trying to juggle all of this balls in the air and figuring out each one of these modules. Eventually, it's going to be well organized, and we're going to be able to easily find stuff. Although it's coding is always the same thing. You gotta look at it, learn about it, and right now it's crashing for some reason. So that's on the manager. Okay. That was the problem. There we go. Problem's gonna be solved here. Now it's crashing somewhere else, which is understandable. Hmm. So it's saying that, it's complaining that this thing's not, it's non-existent. So this is new indeed. Mhm. Yeah, so what's going on now is I'm trying to just break down these problems here. It's complaining about something that it's not. It's going to keep complaining about. So right now I'm declaring that the icon hierarchy dict is an attribute here. I'm initializing it on the class, but it's refusing to recognize it. There's no attribute. Why though? Can I test this? It's clearly there. It's complaining about line 62, which is this one here. And when it's not complaining about that line, it's complaining about this line. Oh, I know what it is. It was correct. Simple order. At least it's not the same error, but keep going. So line 72 now. E error main. Nice. So it is trying to figure out. So this is a good sign. So now it probably needs to reload this guy here. Yeah, so I'm trying to deal with one error that's popping up here. It's probably gonna be like I'm gonna reload this, but I know it's probably not gonna be this the problem. I think that the problem is gonna be a little bit upstream, but it's fine. We're gonna have to reload all the modules probably. Still complaining about the main, so that's not here. It's on this builder, the RigBuilder logic, which is here. It is important that TP read, so this is then where the error is coming from. So I'm gonna have to clean this later on, but right now it's fine. Just because we need to keep reloading these things. So now the root is not a key, although it is a key. But I've declared root with a capital letter here, so hopefully this is gone now. Okay, so this is a different error, so we're solving one step at a time. So line 89 Qt3 widget item object has no attribute item clicked. Yeah, all right. So this is now. Yeah, so yeah, so I'm gonna return a list here with the item column. So right now there's a bunch of errors going on, but what I can see here is that it returns. So the item is actually an object, so it's fine. I don't necessarily need the column here, so I need the item, which is an object. And I understand what's going on here. Like I'm trying to click an item that and it's actually double click. So I'm gonna go with 53 widget, and we're gonna have to check out the documentation here for a second. Need like double clicked because I want the method to be executed only if it's double clicked. It's interesting to see. I don't know if it has any value to see that it's clicked. Maybe if I had like something on the UI which would bring in the attributes for us to change something. So with one click, we would be able to update the UI and add the information to the UI. But to actually execute the item, I would require a double click. So I'll say then that self dot tree widget No, I'm not sure about that. It is true that. So let's go then Qt3 widget item, and this is the class that it returns. And I want to know if it has some sort of signal. So you see that this Qt3 widget has the signals, though the Qt3 widget item, I don't think it has. Seems to be only one signal or one mention to signal. The item changed. But I'm trying to figure out now. Hey, Phoenix Studios, cool. Doing pretty good, man. Thanks for popping up. I am trying to work with some logic here, trying to figure out the Qt3 widget now and add like create a rig builder here to be able to rebuild this facial rigs and basically create it, apply it to different projects, right? So right now I have a bunch of different rigs that I've worked on, facial rigs. But then after the project's done, basically, uh, it's very hard to change the rig that was created. This is just the standard on the industry. You got to be able to rebuild it. So and also it's a piece of portfolio and knowledge that I need right now because I'm tired of having to prove myself every single time regarding code. You just need to have it something on your reel. I do have a few things, but I need something concise and that can actually help me provide something of value eventually, right? I'm gonna drop you a message here. Yeah, so what happens is then that the Qt3 widget, let me see if it's better. You're probably not being able to see this in YouTube or anything like that. So let me try to increase this to 20. Maybe you'll be able to see it better. Maybe I will be able to see it better as well. Yeah, so this is where the so we have then that the Qt3 widget, and for people on Facebook, thanks for popping up as well. Uh, I'm talking also with YouTube, so if you're interested in checking it out in YouTube, it's going on there as well. But anyways, the Qt3 widget, which is an object that's been declared here, right? So it's Qt3 or Qt widget Qt3. And please let me know if you're able to see the code here. Maybe it's hard to read. But anyways, you have the Qt3 widget here, and then we are adding a label here, and that's the root, right? So I'm adding it to a dictionary. Qt3 widget, yeah, which is basically what's going on here. I could just get rid of this at this point because this is not what I'm looking for. What I'm looking for is being able to add modules that are declared inside of my template. There's my rig here. Yeah, it's actually here. So on the rig here, on the rig class, which is going to be the class is going to be built, we have all these modules here. So like, or all of these methods. So you have create new scene, import template, import geo, setup module. So this is stuff that's going to be under development, or there is under development. But at this point, all the very first step that we need is to have the rig builder or the UI to be able to, so we need to be able to register this method, so such as create new scene here. So this is what's going to happen. We have the method being declared here, and this is what it should do. And then you're able to register one of the methods here. So what happens then is the rig builder UI must be able to catch this information from this class and parse it in to the Qt tree widget and be able to build a tree that we will then be able to execute automatically in the order that the methods were registered. At the end of the day, what we want is that basically we're going to have a set of methods that are going to be responsible for setting up the project, cleaning up the scene, bringing in the geometry, bringing in the template, bringing in, so and from the template then taking all the position data, importing all the data from, I don't know, vertex position or whatever, skin cluster stuff that you have stored inside of your projects folder, and then it's going to start executing the build methods. So using, for example, say you're building a neck, for instance. uh, if you have the neck information with the joint position for for each one of the joints on the neck, then it's going to get that information, and then you're going to have a method that's going to be build neck, for example. Then it's going to use that information to place the joints and then build the structure. So yeah, the rig builder is the very first stage, and that's what we're working on right now. Wow, welcome. Yeah, so the data structure then, as you can see, is uh, let me check the error again. I already forgot what it was complaining about. Yeah, so it was saying that that particular method has no item clicked. It's fine. I honestly don't need this right now. I first need to be able to just build the. I first need to be able to see that the tree is being built. Boom! It is working. No way. All right, so we have one method here. Great. So as you can see, it has been added here. So if I let's say that then I'll then be creating. So ideally, uh, I'll call this just for the sake of this test. I'll call this like rig build tree. So okay, so it makes sense. It's Yeah, so what I want next is to have, yeah, I actually had something similar to this here. Face rig, tree widget, and that's fine. What I want now is to have this also added to my item hierarchy dict dot update. And then what I want is to have, so I'm calling it with build tree. Maybe I'll just call, maybe I'll just call that face rig indeed. And then we're going to be creating this face rig here. And then this will be the face rig. Face rig. Let's try it like this first. And that's self.item A. And is that it? I don't know. Seems too simple. Let's try. So, oh, that was actually being rebuild tree. I actually had used this name before. I didn't even see it. Anyways, so it's breaking. Key error face rig. Yeah, and to be a little smarter about the way I'm naming stuff. So either I gotta use the same names. Oh, yeah. Ah, you. No way. It's silly, but it's automated. Look at that. So look at that. We can then say then we have the next method, which is import template. So we'll also be able to see if it's going to be in an order, which so that would be my next question, like how to add them. Because the problem with dictionaries in Maya is that it is not able to store order or indexes or something like that, and this is a problem. So import template, or template, then import geo, or geo, and then setup, setup module. Okay. Yeah, this is an initial test, so we don't have the hugest compromise with the. So what I need then, so what I think is going to happen now, the items are going to be added, but they're going to be in a completely random order. And then the next challenge would be to keep the order. Boom. See? So this is not, the order would be create new scene, import template, import geo, setup modules. And it's just importing in a random order here. Yeah, so this is obviously an issue. And the way we would be able to do that, so now what I want to know is how can I add the items after another item? Because we can tell it specifically to add an item after something if necessary because of the way that dictionaries work. So we can just store that data. But then the question is how can we tell after which look must be like item below. So here is the parent key item qt3 widget item parent item. Okay, so I'm just figuring out like I think it's just all on this qt3 widget item and it's telling it which is this here. um, so now I need to find out how can I tell who's the parent and who should be under, right? So listen to some music here, but for unfortunate reasons on copyrights, Facebook doesn't allow me to really play anything, and YouTube, not that I'm being monetized now, anyways, but eventually, maybe one day, and maybe it's just better to keep it off. Yeah, so I'm just reading the documentation here, looking for this information. So it looks like something like this, like parent. Sorry, my music stopped here. Freaked out for a moment. let's Google here. Qt3 widget item Python insert after. Yeah, so it seems that there is something like an after here. So I don't know if it's I don't know how's the syntax for this. It's weird that it would be like this. I don't know. I don't believe I would type after. These are the three references that we have. It's the kind of thing you gotta test, I guess. So we're looking for ways to add an item after uh, in the Qt3 widget. So the thing is, we have the Qt3 widget adding the items that we are registering on the rig class, but at the moment it is not able to establish the order in which this is being added. So if we look to the code here, uh, we have the TP rig class. The class has then its buildable methods, so it's create new scene, import templates, etc., etc. And what we want to have done is being able to register those methods using this function here, which is basically just adding it to a dictionary with the specific data structure, which is then will be picked up by the rig builder. This way, you will have whatever is, if right now it's the most generic one, which is the TP rig, but it could be a TP rig biped or TP rig face, TP rig wherever. And you would have the methods that we would be using to build it. So we would have, if it's the face or the head, it's going to be neck, head, eyes, eyelids, um, mouth, mouth adjustment, mouth muscle, nose, whatever. Any method that you add here, it's going to be able to, you're going to be able to register it, and then it's going to be executed in an order. So you can always be refining it, right? So you can build all these things, and then you can clean up. You can, and everything's going to be there. Every time you load the rig builder, you're able to just run everything. It's going to import all the geometry, import everything. You're going to have like a brand new rig every time. And if you change anything, you're going to be able to re-import skin clusters and everything. this is the basics of any rig builder, by the way. If you're dealing with uh, advanced skeleton or the M gear, for instance. So yeah, again, what I'm searching for then is just how to uh, then I'm just gonna add it like this for now. I'm just gonna store it pretty straightforward here. Same thing. All right, so one of them it's already being added as. And feel free to leave questions if you want. I'm, I'm basically talking to myself, anyways. Might as well explain something. So here I'm just unpacking the dictionary and getting the after. So let's see if that's the what's wrong. So it has here some of the possibilities. So let's see how it works. Well, where's the internet when you need it? I don't know. Qt3 widget item, Q3 widget item after. Jesus, man. I want the new item to be inserted after the last row or of the first row. Just fucked up. I don't know what languages. It seems to be JavaScript or something. It's not what I need. Yeah, I don't believe this is the case. I mean, I would be very surprised if that was the case, especially because it's a string. Let's try. It's crashing, of course. Uh, let's go back to the documentation. Hey, Phoenix. That's, I guess in a way that's what we're trying to do it here. So, Phoenix Studios is asking how to create a facial rigging plugin. Yeah, so basically that's exactly what we're trying to do here is just create a rig builder that executes methods one after the other and makes it easy for you to just add a new step or remove a new step or change attributes on the steps and be able to then basically build your setup. So then you have the like multiple stages that you need to figure out. Like one thing that we just figured out was the import skinning or import skin weights, import export, because that's something you'll be doing quite frequently, so on and so forth. I mean, it's not a simple question, so it's hard to appreciate the question, though. I hope that helps somehow. I am currently for 3 years in Vancouver. So I'm in Vancouver for 4 years now, and I came here to study at Vancouver Film School, and 1 year studying at Vancouver Film School, and then after that, I got my first job at EA Games as a character artist first, but my demo reel was already focused on facial rigging. And then after that, I stayed 6 months in EA, and then I went to Bardell Entertainment here in Vancouver, which is responsible for shows like, among other 3D shows, but Rick and Morty would be one that is very famous, which is not 3D and was not the thing that I was doing, but I was rigging there for some animation shows. So I did that for 7 months or something, and then I went to Zoic, and then I went from Zoic to Scanline, which is actually an actual movie studio, and yeah, I stayed for a while there, and then now I am at Digital Domain. So I'm facial rigger at Digital Domain. It's even weird to say it like this. It was quite a journey. I gotta tell you, it was the greatest risk of my life to drop everything in Brazil and come here to Vancouver. It was a bit of a fight. We're still not citizens, or we don't have their permanent residency yet. So, but we got the invitation, but we still have to apply, go through the process. It's probably gonna take like another 6 months to a year. Yeah, it was kind of a roller coaster, but I mean, we had the opportunity, and I'm thankful for that, because I know it's not a common thing as well. So yeah, that's the story. I know you asked about how many years only, but I'm giving you the whole story, I guess, giving some content to the internet. And by the way, in the meantime, we had a baby here in Vancouver, so that was a hell of a ride, my friend. Not a hell of a ride. It was pretty good. Like one of the greatest things I've ever happened to me. Oh, thank you so much, my friend. Thank you so much. It's been a roller coaster, but yeah, it's basically doing this, like working on your own personal projects, because nobody's going to give you anything without that. Like studio work is great, but the stuff that you do on the side is what gets you there, you know. I have my PC now should be. So first of all, Phoenix Studios was asking initially how long I was in the animation industry, and now he's asking what's my PC specs. It's not the greatest PC in the world, because I haven't had the demand for that yet, but I'll probably have to upgrade it this year. I have a E7 i7 Intel i7 20 RTX 2080, like 32 gigs of RAM. Pretty simple stuff, nothing amazing. Or at least now with the 3080s and the 3080s, 3090. And I have a friend that has bought like two or three of this, but I'm not a modeler. I'm not modeling at the moment, at least. Uh, for facial rigging, you do need to model, but I've been focusing heavily on the coding side for the last year or more, like last 2 years. I've been coding the most, and that's mostly because of what the industry requires. Like, yeah, if you want to have an opportunity with development, it's just you gotta do the grind, man. and it takes a while for it to get, and also to prove that you know. So then yeah, after that I'll probably I'm thinking of the next step. Maybe I'll have to deal with some modeling next, or at least some rendering. And for that I'll be probably using Redshift. Oh, cool. That's a good idea though. The so Phoenix Studios is saying that, suggesting that I do animal facial rig. Yeah, it's most, so what I'd say is facial rigging is always the same thing regarding emotions, right? So if you're looking to convey emotions on anything, especially on the human face. Sorry, I had screwed the code here, but it's not. So if you want to convey emotions, it's about the facts. It's about just the standard facts theory. So facts theory states that there's a couple of emotions that you can do. The basic emotions, so it's about seven, like hate, happiness, sadness, etc., etc. And it's always the same. It's always the same muscles are being activated. So and then you can do combos, right? You can do like a bit of one emotion combined with another emotion. But what I would do if I had to do animal uh, an animal facial rig, I'll probably do the bases as joints such as neck, ears, jaw, maybe eyelids as joints. Let me think if there's anything else. Maybe like just maybe nose movements, but uh, mostly then on top of that you'd be doing blend shapes. So you would be separate. You would be checking like a dog, and then it depends if you want to have like a realistic dog or a uh, like a animal per se without emotions, or just like being able to do like or something like that. So if it's just that, you would be sculpting the muscles, like the basic muscles of the dog, or even all the muscles. This is probably going to have just a series of muscles that can push and pull the lips. Now, if you want to perform emotions, you need to sculpt it more like a human. But nonetheless, uh, which type of code you're writing? It's Python. But anyways, the so just to finish the idea, you would then be sculpting all of the other muscle, all of the other features as blunt shapes, and connecting them to a controller. That's mostly how it's done all over the industry. Digital Domain has a different system. It's still blunt shapes, but they use a lot of AI. There's AI involved just to picking up the actor's interpretation and then transfer it into the blunt shapes. But mostly that's how I'll do it. But it's a good idea. Maybe I'll try that one day. It's Python. Time is at 10:40. How much time we have been here? 1 hour. Yeah, I'll be going soon. Yoash, I think that this is the thing. Hey, Phoenix. No problem. Uh, Studios use Linux. I use Windows. It doesn't really matter. I think that I mean it's I think it has to do with the amount of maintenance you want to do. If you're doing Linux, you have more flexibility. If you have a huge pipeline team, for example, there's a lot more flexibility to do to customize the system for you. If your studio is small, or if you're a single person, if you are very comfortable with Linux, might be the case. But for professional work, as a freelancer, for example, or even if you're working with clients, I think that Windows is just fine. And then it becomes like a matter of which operational system can handle like most softwares. For example, if you're working at your home as a freelancer, as a professional, or even if you have a studio, like a remote studio or something, you would probably have to, if you have to use like Maya, ZBrush, Houdini, and then edit on Premiere or anything like that. If you're using, for example, the Apple OS, uh, I'm using PyCharm. PyCharm is the best. It's funny how there's nothing, right? To Shortcuts. That's a good one. I don't think I have a list right now. Uh, that will be. I mean, it depends on what are you calling shortcuts. I mean, if you're talking about shortcut, are you talking about shortcuts like to get into the industry, or like actual commands like shortcuts? Let me know. Commands and keys. Yeah. Well, that depends a lot on which software, right? If you're talking about Maya, but I wouldn't know that right now. My friend, I'm sorry. PyCharm is free. It is free. I think you probably can pay if you like if you're using enterprise or if you need like a license for a studio or something. But that's probably the only way it would be paying for. I for me, it's free. Checking the weather tomorrow. Yeah, so this is our main question now. Like, yeah, so my license, I don't have a studio license. I'm not working for any client right now. I don't know if I would have to pay it even if I was working for a client. I don't know if it's outsource or open source either. Let me see. From JetBrains. Yeah, you can buy. If you need to buy, it's like 199 US dollars per year. But it's for organizations, right? So for it's 199 per user, per users in an organization. For individual use, it is $89. But then there's the one that I use, which is the I use the community version. So the professional version. Yeah, let me show you. Yeah, so this is the professional version, which you can like web web Python development, HTML, JavaScript, SQL support. And this is what I do. This is what I use, like just for pure Python development. That was the PyCharm. Just type PyCharm on Google, and it's going to prompt you that. It's terrible. I don't understand how am I supposed to understand this. Right now, I'm rigging. Phoenix is asking whether I'm rigging facial or body rig right now, and right now I'm working on a facial rig. It's a, as I said, it's a rig builder, so I'm focused on developing the methods to develop a facial rig, but the this is a rig builder that should be able to equally build a body rig, but I'm working on a facial rig. I hope F4 is a cool thing. Yeah, so right now I'm checking out like it's probably very tiny on the screen, but I'm just trying to figure out. It has. It's insane. Okay, not too bad. It accepted that, so let's keep going. Uh, Phoenix Studios asks, in big studios, which type of language is used for animation tools? Mostly Python. Mostly Python. Some nodes. Some nodes. They have some specific nodes for deformations, for example. That Sorry, I'm trying to figure out this thing now. But yeah, it's mostly Python. So C++ is maybe used for some nodes. Yes. Phoenix Studio says, "Sir, bring us facial mockup rigging tutorials." I hope I can get there. If all goes well, we're gonna get to the point where this is going to be allow us to do that. Phoenix Studios asks an NPC how they animate the lions from The Lion King. If you have any idea or experience. No, I don't have. I would assume that it's a bunch of. It's a combination of techniques. It's probably. I would say it's rigging with muscle simulation, with a bunch of like simulations on top of that. So skin, fat, fat layer, the fascia or something like that. Probably done with a software. It's if it's done by Weta, they have their own simulation software there for muscles, and then you have this the fur. So it's extremely complex, right? And then for the face, I believe it's a combination of joints and blend shapes. It's probably more complex than that, but blend shapes, it's a big portion of it for sure. But I mean, there's so much to that. We can probably schedule like an interview or someone that did that. I'll try to. That's a good idea, actually. Talking to someone that actually did it. I'm just talking out of my ass, basically. Sorry, what I am? If I'm happy with what, I think they do. They created the industry, right? They were created by what's the name of the director of Titanic and Avatar? James Cameron was involved on it. One of the founders. It's a city on its own that brings millions, if not billions, of dollars to uh, what's the name of the city? New Zealand. Yeah, Wellington, New Zealand, founded in 1993 by Peter Jackson. Sorry, I was wrong. By Peter Jackson, Richard Taylor, and Jimmy Selkirk in 1993. Yeah, these guys are monsters. Peter Jackson, among other things, he did the freaking Lord of the Rings. Hey, Nuke Pie. Oh, Weta M. I know what you're talking about now. But yeah, I remember that. Yeah, it's insane. I don't know. I don't know if I can. Like, this is probably gonna demonetize, but I don't. I'm not able to monetize them anyways. Yeah, no. What I am is insane. It's great. What it does is it's basically it's going to uh, make visual effects, high end visual effects, more affordable. Probably it's just like the meta humans. It's more power to the people basically, where like smaller studios are now able to start competing with the higher end studios. Although this is probably going to be rolled out into, yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, but this is like this is high end studio stuff. Like this is great, but it's not for it's not necessarily for the regular Joe, right? But it's insane. Yeah, thanks for the heads up. I didn't associate it at first, but it's a really cool tool. Come to change a lot for sure. Really bring this is like if you're working on like digital domain as I am right now. They have their proprietary tools and sometimes like faces. It's very hard to catch up with them because they have a very well established. Yeah, it's probably available for all, but like for to take so Phoenix Studios saying that it's available for all, but for you to take advantage of it, it's gonna be well. mm, I hope you can take advantage of it. By no means, I'm not questioning anyone, but uh, it's probably gonna have a greater impact on like smaller studios that don't have their own pipeline and but yeah, it's going to affect the entire market, just like the MetaHuman, right? So the MetaHumans, it's a facial tool that it's not perfect in terms of results. It's not on the level of digital domain, for example, where they're capturing like wrinkles on the face, and you have the freaking Peloton or like you have an entire army of modelers so that will refine that and you test and retest. So it's very hard for you to keep up with that. But with something like the MetaHumans, you can start to create content that is uh, at least interesting and closer to that can be applied to games. For example, I know of studios here in Vancouver, big movie studios that are implementing metahumans for game cinematics, for example. It's going to be already a big step, and this is the where I am certainly going to be great for that as well. Yeah, good talk. Thanks for this topic. Where I am. I wish I had the time to edit these things and separate the interesting parts out of the whole sea of boredom, which is watching someone code. I appreciate the company. Yeah, so right now I'm still trying to find out where to add. Like, I'm currently working on a new division in digital domain, which is a real-time division where they're working on ways to port their technology, their VFX technology of faces and body, like body muscles and simulations, to apply it in Unreal Engine. And that's what I'm doing there. Then making tests, working on pipeline stuff. That's my life. Be having an idea here. Insert top level items. Insert top level. Top level. Let's see if I can increase the size of this. Maybe you guys can read as well. Edit item. Current items. Top level. Item below. So I thought that this was a item at item above. This is apparently this is going to be returning which set count take top level vision. It says item below. It's going to return the item visually below the given item. I don't want that. I want to set the freaking item. Index of child. Insert child. Is expanded. Is selected. Parent. Read. Set. It's probably something like set column or set row. So, yeah, it's gonna be set row, but not even that. Yeah, RigBuilder is it's the way that it's the only way that you can have any sort of pipeline or production. That's for sure. You cannot have clients or anything if you don't have like a way to build and rebuild your rigs. You gotta build once, go through approval, get nodes. Geometry is going to change, UVs are going to change, blend shapes are going to change, everything's going to change, and you must every time it changes, you must be able to rebuild it and publish. Guys, I'm getting really tired right now. I gotta go. Sorry about that. But yeah, it's mostly me, New Phoenix Studios. So Nook Pie. I don't know if this guy's gone already. So, anyways, thanks for the company. Thanks for the questions. It kept my mind thinking here. Uh, I'll get an answer for this, and then yeah, I guess I have an. Yeah, thanks, guys. Thanks, Nick Pie. Yeah, I gotta go. I'm already melting here. Yeah, see you guys. Have a good night. Have a good day. Or depending on where you are around the world. And I hope that at some point this is gonna flow a little better. It's when I find out how to add these items and how to add them in the specific order that we want, and then we're going to test. So the next step would then be to be able to execute these items. So after it's all executing, so we are able to register it and execute it, then boom, we're golden. The next thing is also how to execute the entire list at once. And yeah, I think it's going to start to make sense. There's always more development that's necessary, but I guess that's they have a say that the only way to eat an elephant is one bite at a time, right? That's exhausting, but it's the only way to go. So another bite today, and we keep biting till we eat the whole damn elephant. Unless you are in India, then we don't eat the elephant. We eat something else big, but something else. All right? Cheers, guys. Here I am as the tired face. But yeah, guys have a good night, have a good weekend, and talk to you on the next